Hiya, I hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to be getting into something a little bit different that I've wanted to do for quite a long time. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, which is one thing I like and dislike about every killer. I've seen a few other creators do this, but I wanted to do my own little version of it, so I do hope you enjoy. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with dislike first, and then we'll move on to what I like about them. So yeah, here we go. Starting off with Trapper, the thing I dislike about Trapper would be setting up. It takes a lot of time to set up bear traps, and in this instance you end up losing quite a few gens by the end of setting up your bear traps, which is a little unfortunate. However, it's just what it's like with Trapper. Now what I do like about Trapper has to be Naughty Bear. One of the best killer cosmetics in my opinion, and I just love it. I love the voice lines from the narrator and also the Mory as well. Moving on to Wraith. The thing I dislike about Wraith would be hit and run. I feel like it's kind of like a boring playstyle. You just injure someone, go find someone else, injure them, come back to the other person. It can be quite bland, I gotta say. And what I like about Wraith would have to be the Bing Bong. Next we have Billy. What I dislike about Billy would be the overdrive mechanic. It's just unnecessary. They needed to remove the overheat because that made Billy pretty much useless. But they didn't need to add an overdrive. It's kind of like one step forward, 15 steps back. It was just not needed. As Plankton would say,
"You'll never catch me, Crabs. Not when I shift into maximum overdrive."
And what I do like about Billy would have to be the war cries. You know, the little screams he does before he takes off onto his chainsaw sprint. Moving on to Nurse. What I dislike about her would be her ability to ignore in-game mechanics, basically making windows and pallets pretty much useless. Now I understand it's been this way for years, but still, I just feel like killers that ignore these gameplay mechanics are kind of, very strong of course, but that's just my take on her. What I do like about Nurse though is how easy it is to learn her. She is kind of tricky to learn within the first few matches, but you definitely get it along the way, and I do like blinking, so yeah, that's pretty much what I like about Nurse. Next we have Michael. What I dislike is his bland power and years without a rework. Michael was one of the first licenses. He was the second DLC, however he was the first proper licensed chapter, which was a big deal. But for years, he has just had a bland power. They've never changed anything about it, and it's just boring. I do hope they do something with him soon. Give him like a whole new edition, let's say. And what I like about Michael would have to be his stun sound effect. Just listen to that stun. Oh! Next we have Hag. What I do dislike, the same with Trapper, it would have to be the slow setup portion of the game. You're basically gonna lose yet again 2 to 3 gens, which is a big deal. With Hag, you pretty much have to make up for that pressure, otherwise you're gonna lose the game. Large maps pretty much destroy her, and there's not really any chance to make a comeback at that point. However, what I do like would be maps like Midwich, where she is at her strongest. Moving on to Doctor. What I dislike about him the most would be the ability to interrupt the survivors from using gameplay mechanics, pretty much blocking windows in a way with the shock and also pallets, a lot of the time giving a free hit to the Doctor. However, what I do like would be the Mory. I've gotta say that is a solid Mory at least. I guess that's his redeeming quality. Moving on to Huntress. The dislike would be the inaccurate hitboxes, which has been the same for years now. I do hope they revisit it, because a lot of the time you could be hit from somewhere you wouldn't expect to be hit from. But yeah, that would be the dislike of Huntress. What I do like about her would be the lullaby becoming more maniacal as the match progresses, makes her sound more crazy, and it's cool. Next we have the main man himself, Bobba. What I dislike, he kind of shuts down teamwork in a way, which a lot of DBD is teamwork, finishing gens, being very altruistic with each other. But when going against Bobba, teamwork is kind of shut down completely. You can't really take any hits for anyone. It's not the worst, but you know, you can see why it would be a little frustrating. What I do like is pretty much everything. Honestly, his Bobba, there's no reason to hate him. One of the best things would be Insidious Bobba. His chainsaw grunts, his sound effects, and everything's great here. So yeah. Next we have Freddy. Dislikes would be how bland his power is. The old power seemed way more interesting. Although the old power was easy to counter by waking yourself up with a gen, I feel like the devs should bring back the old power, but kind of tweak it a little bit. I just felt like pulling survivors into the dream world by, you know, making them fall asleep instead of just injuring them was way more interesting. What I do like about him, I guess, would be the teleportation. It's kind of fun to get around the map that way, but that would probably be the only like that I choose for him. Up next on the roster we have Pig. Firstly, starting off with the dislike would be the ambush attack. It's pretty useless and adds nothing to a chase. Smart survivors will mostly always run to another tile to avoid it, and it's just very useless. I wish they would buff this somehow to incorporate it more into the chase. Otherwise, pretty much if a survivor runs to another tile, you're never going to get to use it. However, what I do like would be the stealth factor of the crouch. It can be used to sneak up on survivors and, you know, even be a nice jump scare every now and then. Up next we have Clown. The dislike being you mostly have to pre-drop in order to prolong the chase against him, which sometimes can be a little bit boring. There's only a few pallets that may be loopable, but if the pallet is pretty much unsafe, you've got to pre-drop. It's the only chance you have of avoiding a hit. What I like about Clown will probably be his simplicity. For some reason when I play him I just feel satisfied. He's a fun killer to play. I love using the bottles, and yeah, I just feel like he's one of those killers you can play just to have a good time without having to worry about trying to be very skillful with the power. With Spirit, for the dislike, I'd say she's pretty much uncounterable. She's the strongest killer in the game pretty much. I'd say she's like the second, third strongest. Yeah, there's not really much you could do against this. I guess Windows would be the only counter in a way, but even then, she can easily catch up to you. The thing I like about her, I guess it sounds silly, there's not much. I would probably say her hair, maybe. Moving on to Legion, I dislike that most of the match is, you know, just mending. You'd find yourself mending for pretty much 3/4 of the match, which is just press a button, wait until you stop mending, and go back to doing what you're doing, and then they target you again. Yeah, it's not really interesting, very lackluster. What I do like though is the customization options to become different characters of the squad. The cool customizations of the cosmetics are pretty cool, so yeah, I'll give him that. Plague. What I dislike is being infected. Sad face. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But what I do like is her Mory. She literally smacks the survivor in the face with her profane sensor. Look at that aggression. I'm going to play the Mory now. Like, she just absolutely bashes their face in and gives them a mouthful of goo. So yeah, what's not to love about that? With Ghostface, I dislike being unaware of how much you've been stalked. It's kind of like, you know, with Myers, you get little sound cues to when he's level up to tier 2. But with Ghostface, it's kind of you are unaware if you've been stalked at all. And what I do like would be the Mory, just taking a selfie while killing someone. Who doesn't love it? Next we have Demogorgon. The dislike will be if you're pretty much in his line of sight, you will be hit by his shred. There's not really much you can do here. If you are literally in front of him, you're going to get shred and you're going to get injured. There's not really much you can do here. And what I do like about Demo is he's pretty much the Fog's Poppy in a way, which, you know, we love him for that, so it all is forgiven. For Oni, I dislike the incompetent teammates giving him blood instantly. a lot of the times you'd load into a match, you'd go against Oni, and within like the first 10 seconds, one of your very dumb teammates just gives him his power there and then. It's not really fun. That's more of a teammate problem, but, you know, still, if a teammate gets injured, Oni has his power. It's kind of downhill from there. But what I do like about Oni would be his Bam Bam. With Deathslinger, I dislike being harpooned. That's basically just a skill issue on my part. I'm not insulting Deathslinger, I'm just bad at the game, so, you know. There we go. But what I do like about Deathslinger would be how he brought Dead Dog into the game, which, you know, I do like the map. I do like the tiles on it. I think it's a nice map. So, yeah. Next, we have the Blight. What I dislike about Blight is when a good player plays him, he's pretty much almost impossible to go against. I've gone against Blights that have been really good, and it's a little frustrating, but at the same time, you know, he is one of the strongest killers in the game, so it's going to happen. However, I know this might be a bit contradicting, but what I do like is that he is challenging. He's not brain dead easy to play against like Legion or Wraith or Pig, but at the same time I do like that he is a little challenging to go against. It makes you think a bit more while being chased. With the twins, do I even need to say? The gameplay just puts me to sleep. I'm sorry, but twins, you are a no. What I like about the twins though, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've got nothing. Moving on. Trickster. I dislike that he is immensely strong in a 1v1, but very weak in a 4v1. It doesn't really make sense in a way. What I do like though is his voice lines, you know. I feel like it's pretty cool hearing them in another language, and yeah. Nemesis. What I dislike about Nemesis would be the zombies pretty much being rather useless. I wouldn't say from time to time, I'd say a lot of the time in a way. They don't really help. They give you an idea of where survivors could be, but even then, if you're not on like a tight map with tight hallways like RPD or maybe Hawkins, they are pretty much useless. What I do like though, this may be a contradiction, I do like the zombies. I like that the community itself has kind of adopted them as like, you know, their own little names. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone calls them something different. For me personally, I call them Johnny and Jenny. It just makes sense for me. What else I like would be the tentacle, him saying stars, and also the Mory. The Mory, him just shoving his boot into someone's face. Very aggressive, but I love it. Next we have Pinhead. What I dislike would be a lot of the time when I have been chained by the possessed chains, I pretty much cannot pick up speed as quick as I'd want to, and yeah, Pinhead ends up getting a hit pretty much all the time. What I do like though is the box. You opened it.
I came.
Moving on to artist, I like her design. I think she looks fantastic, and I think she's gorgeous, I've got to say it. What I dislike would be there is no limit to the range of the birds. You can pretty much know where survivors are on pretty much any gen when she is nowhere near the gen. Her birds can pretty much travel the entirety of the map. I just realised with that one that I read the like first. We're just going to move on. With the Onryo, what I dislike is that I don't face her more often. Honestly, since they updated Onryo, she is way more fun to face and play. It feels very fun to play against her, and it's just a little unfortunate that I haven't gone against her more often because I think she's really cool. I like her. What I do like is the Mory. I think it's easily one of the best Morys in the game, and it's pretty, I'd say, goofy as well. I like it. I like the Mory, and I also like Onryo, so yeah. With the Dredge, I dislike that loops are very difficult to see during Nightfall. there's not really much you can do with it. It looks cool and all, but you know, unless you are running windows to see where pallets are, it's quite difficult to see where you're going. But what I do like is that Nightfall is a nice touch and it makes it quite interesting. It adds a bit more horror, and also the horrific, terrifying sound effects during it are quite creepy as well, so that is another like during it. Okay, with the Mastermind, a dislike I would have is his sarcastic comments during a chase or the end of a chase. This one is more of a jokey dislike. I'm not really serious about it. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, you loop in Wesker, you've looped him for pretty much 4 gens, snapped his ankles, and at the end of it, he just says, I expected more from you. And I'm just thinking, Wesker, I just looped you, man. You were giving me that sassy tone and you just got your ankles broken. But no, the sarcastic comments and the voice lines from Wesker are pretty funny. I just thought it was rather comedic to add it in a dislike, but yeah. Even if you are doing bad from time to time and you have a short chase, it's just not needed, my dude. Wesker, give me some leeway, man. I'm bad at the game. But the like I have for him is he is one of the most balanced killers in the game, and I feel like for both sides he is incredibly fun to experience. With the Knight, a dislike would be zoning as Survivor. There's pretty much nothing you can do if a guard is chasing you and also the Knight is chasing you. It's kind of like a 2-on-1, especially in one of the tiles that are in the corner where you just can't go either way. You're pretty much fucked. So yeah, that's the worst part about Knight. I'd say the like for Knight would be the Mory. One of the coolest Morys for sure. But yeah, the gameplay wise kind of lets it down in that sense. Moving on to Skull Merchant, what I dislike is her drones still seem to be quite annoying, especially if the drone injures you and slows you down whilst being chased. It's just frustrating when it doesn't really need to be. I feel like she does need a few tweaks in that sense, but you know, you can't have a video game that doesn't have a very annoying character. What I do like about Skull Merchant though is that matches no longer last around 40 minutes. I'm glad, because beforehand matches would last such a long time. It's unreal. Yeah. Next on the list we have Singularity. What I dislike about him is it's too easy to catch up to a survivor whilst they have Biopod on. I feel like if I were to be decision maker here, I would make it if you teleport to a survivor with the his little gun thingy, the survivor's biopod disappears and then you have to re-infect them. That's probably just me though. Feel free to disagree because it does sound a little weird, but I don't know. What I do like about the Singularity is it wasn't programmed to harm the crew. Next we have the Xenomorph. He's pretty much the Fog's cat, just like Demogorgon, cat and dog. Yeah, I love it. And what I dislike would be there's not really a sound cue to the tail attack. With Nemesis you can hear the tentacle being lifted up, so you kind of know if you need to dodge it or not. With Xenomorph there's not really any sound indication, you just have to hope to God that he's not going to use the tail attack, otherwise, you know, I feel like he gets it most times. Chucky, what I dislike would be the slice and dice. They can catch up rather quick and can use the power pretty much instantly after. I'm pretty sure once they use the power, they just have to wait another 10 seconds and then they can use it again. However, what I do like would be the fantastic Mory and the really cool voice lines. I feel like it adds that touch of variety there. With the Unknown, I dislike the hitboxes of the UXV, I think it is, or is it the UAV? I'll put it on the screen what it is. I can't be bothered to look right now. Yeah, I just feel like the hitboxes are a little iffy. Feels like you could be out of the power and you'd still get hit. Anyway, yeah. What I do like though about the Unknown is
what is that? It's the Unknown.
The Lich. What I dislike about the Lich is Mage Hand. Pretty much with Mage Hand, it's way too strong, and it pretty much ignores every sense of using pallets. If a survivor uses a pallet, the Mage Hand can pretty much pick it back up instantly. It doesn't even take any time to pick it up, it's instant. And even with the survivor run into the pallet, the Lich can block the pallet. 9 times out of 10, it gains the killer a free hit. And yeah, it's just it's not the most fun to go against, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like you can't really avoid the Mage Hand unless you are Jesus. However, what I do like about the Lich would be that he is voiced by Matthew Mercer. And at the same time, I do love the other Borgo map, Forgotten Ruins. I think it's really cool, and I love the like ancient theme to it almost. Looking back now, I forgot Pyramid Head, I'm pretty sure, so we're gonna get into that now. The dislike would be having to crouch over the trails, which can take quite a bit of time to get over them. The like would be... Actually, for another dislike would be them nerfing his ass. Remember when he used to have that ass, that wagon? It's so disappointing that they got rid of that. I feel cheated. But at the same time, what I do like would be the, I'd say the cages. I think the cages are like a cool addition. Oh my god, we're finally done. Okay, I am rubbing my eyes and I feel like I got a headache after that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've literally sat down for like the past hour, planned this, but I wanted to get a video out and do something a little bit different. But yeah, I literally had it all planned out. I typed what I was gonna say, and you know, I'm so glad I got through it though. I don't know how long this is gonna take to edit, but I'm just so happy I got through it. Let me know what you think though. What do you think of my opinions during this? I hope you enjoyed it. What was your favourite like and dislike that I mentioned? And yeah, please let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, like talking about DBD, maybe fact videos, maybe opinion videos. Let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm gonna head off now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye. That's enough talking from me. Right, see ya.